Welcome to the Mayor and Council meeting, Oakland, New Jersey, August 28th, 2019. Roll call.
Mayor Schwager,
Here.
Councilman Bialy,
Here.
Councilman Knapp.
Here.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman Levy.
Here. Really
Councilman
gonna get my name wrong?
Pignatelli,
Here.
Councilman Paolini.
Here.
Our regular borough clerk is, Lisa is on vacation, so we're very happy. Thank you,
Thank
Kathy.
you.
For
Anytime.
taking over. Kathy is, goes to zoning board and planning board.
Motion to excuse.
What? What'd you say?
Motion to excuse.
Oh.
She's allowed to be excused.
Okay.
We love you,
Please look
Lisa.
at your cell phones, make sure that they're on vibrate so that it's not disturbing. Also, please refrain from texting because it is discourteous, disruptive, and could be construed as a violation of the Public Meetings Act. So at this time, I ask you to stand to salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. And my mayor's report for this evening is as follows. The Patriots Way Bridge sidewalk has been completed. It would have been fully completed, correct, if the paint color by the association was picked out sooner. So as of today, a color was finally picked. It will be painted, and on Friday,
Friday morning, and we expect it to dry during the day.
Don't keep us in suspense. What color is it?
you pick the color.
Banyan brown.
I'm not on there.
Oh, Banyan brown is the color. That's the whole big.
All right, that's, you know what, I'm good now, I can go home.
So, it is done. We were able to get the permits, we were able to get all the documentation. I don't know if the governor's rep, after I spoke with the governor's rep, and Richard spoke with him, but it was expedited. They did their work, they were excellent. I went down there, they were very, very polite to the residents. The sidewalk is completed. Once it's painted and it dries, hopefully the weather will hold up. It could dry right after it's painted for a day at least.
Yes.
And then it will be reopened and the sidewalk is safe. So, and thank you, John, our engineer, thank you, John Yakimic.
It's all right. All Johns are good.
Oh, for all the work
Yeah,
and
they named
involvement
something.
with the repair.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
Also want to thank John Yakimic, our borough engineer, because it was John's discussions, negotiations, hard work with the railroad company to get the tree cut down in Bush Plaza. Thank you, John. And it was decided that because it's abuts the railroad property, everything with the railroad takes priority, and they really do have a very high hierarchy in government. And the government listens to the railroad before they listen to us. So thank you, John, for your help.
Thank you.
And we had to split the cost of the cutting down of the tree, which is fine, and it's done. And again, thank you, John, for your hard work. I was asked to announce the 2019 Fall TGA Golf Clinic for the recreation program. It will run on Thursdays, starting September 19th, going to October 24th, from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Rec Complex. This is for all children in grades K through 5. If you want to have go to a golf clinic. That's very good. And the contact information is Kevin Rooney at krooney@playtga.com. That's Kevin Rooney at KROONEY@playtga.com. And then you can find out about registering. So if your children are interested in golf and maybe someday become golf pro, you can find out about this golf clinic. On September 7th the Fathers Club, who gives a lot of money towards the children in town, is having a pig roast, 3 p.m. at the Elks Lodge. And then the following week, on September 15th, the Elks Lodge is having their annual barbecue to benefit Special Children's Committee. They do a lot of work with special children's needs. So that's on September 15th, 12:30 to 3:30, and it's a $15 donation. Just want to remind everybody that school opens next week, so please be careful walking and driving. Watch for cars, and cars, please watch for pedestrians. And also, speaking of walking, I will talk about potholes. And I ask you, if you happen to notice potholes, we don't have the manpower to drive around town to see every street and where there's a pothole. If you have a pothole on your street or you're walking to school and notice potholes, just let us know. We can get the DPW out there immediately to fill in the pothole. And for safety reasons, it's very important. So please, if you see a pothole, you could even call me, contact me, email me. I will notify our borough administrator, he's smiling, and I will also notify our DPW supervisor, who will quickly get over there to the street and cover the pothole. I just want to say something about the agenda tonight. On the agenda, we have a couple of resolutions. And the first resolution authorizes authorizing a company to help us with the removal of the Stream House. And 8 years ago, I said that's one of the biggest problems we had in town, the Van Allen House and the Stream House. Right in the beginning, a gift horse, I had somebody come forward, the Ramapo Conservancy, they were used the Land Conservancy as their umbrella, offered to take over the Van Allen House, the Stream House. They were going to apply for grants. They were going to redo everything. It didn't quite work out the way we thought. It took a lot. Unfortunately, you can't just knock down a building. And if we had knocked down the Stream House without the proper certification from the state, we would have been fined, penalized, lose all of our historical connotation towards the Van Allen House. It would have been financially exorbitant.
Also, future funding.
At future funding, right. We would have lost out on everything. So we hired a firm, Connolly and Hickey, who are specialists in historical architecture, and they have a very good reputation. And we hired them to file a report to go to Trenton to say why we need the Stream House removed. It's an eyesore, but more than that, it's a hazard, and it's very dangerous. And I was always under the impression, falsely, that they wanted us to rebuild it as an exact replica, and that's not true. They want us they are willing to let us remove the Stream House, and we're not allowed to say knock it down, remove the Stream House. Dismantle it, that's a good word, thank you, John. Dismantle the Stream House and replace it with something, and Councilman Bialy and I have always talked about this. What we would love to see in that spot is like a little children's museum, because I don't know if anybody is aware, and I wrote this in one of my newsletter articles, that at one point we were the county seat for the county, which is why we have Courthouse Place. I bet a lot of people didn't know. When you come off 208 and the Exxon station is on the right and you go straight and you see the Knights of Columbus, that is Courthouse Place. And it was right around that area, which was the county seat for a very short time. And it's very interesting history. And so we were the county seat. We would love to see it become a little museum, talk about the history of Oakland. We have a lot of history. In fact, I do know that Kevin Heffernan once gave a fabulous historical seminar at the Senior Center, and it's amazing the very rich history our town has, and that's our goal. So it took a lot of time, but you got to do things right when it comes to government. You can't just, in the private sector, you want to knock something down, you just go knock it down. In government, you have to follow the procedures. And we're so excited that tonight, on one of our resolutions, we'll be able to authorize this very reputable, historic architectural company to come up with the plans and go forward with knocking down this, well, excuse me, dismantling, thank you, dismantling the Stream House.
You do need a permit to knock something down.
This is dismantling, yes. With that, I am finished with my, I think I said everything I wanted to say tonight, but I always forget, so I may interrupt people. But at this point, I'll open a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
You're not speaking?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Michael Pritchard, 23 Calumet. I got three quick things. About 2 weeks ago, 2 meetings ago, I was here and we were talking about generators. And I took the step forward. And when I look at generators, like the one I have in my backyard, the town of Oakland is very good. They're outstanding on how they do it in comparison to other towns. However, when you get to portable generators, the state of New Jersey is negligent. And the reason being is all they do is they put out these information bulletins. That means nothing to somebody. But I did find some that could be of help. One of them came from the Attorney General's office, which they talked about buying them, but they also talked about safety, which is very important. This is what I want to stress. In the safety with that, I found an excellent report from, where is it, Department of Human Services, which they use the New Jersey Administrative Code for that. And then again, they talked about safety, not only the safety of electrical safety, but fire safety. Because when you talk about with fire safety, the flash point for gasoline is 44 degrees below zero. And those engines run hot. And if there's something in that muffler that's glowing or something like that, and you're pouring gas, you've got a lot of problems there, pal. Because you and the burn center will become the best of friends. Because that's what it gets down to. But we're talking about that. I put together a thing dealing with generators for you.
Oh.
You know, I'll do that for you.
you're wonderful, thank you.
The second
That's
thing,
great.
it becomes very important right now. And Sunday, a hurricane's going to hit Florida.
Yes,
We're in the midst of the season for hurricanes right now, which is September and October. So it's very important what we're going to have to do with Alderman Brook. Now, the third thing, as I ran into, it's on Interstate 287 as outdoor advertising. You're not allowed to have that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes,
Because we read your email, I forwarded your email to our borough attorney, our planning board attorney, and zoning board attorney, and our borough attorney then did some research so we could answer you.
Because I found the federal statute for it, the state statute for it, the state administrative code. I found the case law dealing with this stuff too.
Well, before a billboard goes up, you need to get a permit from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. This company did obtain that permit. The NJDOT is charged with applying the federal, state, and the regulations. So before anything can happen, they would need a permit. Before they came into Oakland, they had their permit. They made an application to the Zoning Board of Adjustment that was part of the proofs, because the location of billboards is what is viewed by the Department of Transportation. Once they get that permit, then they come in to the town. Board of Adjustment in Oakland actually denied the case. Our ordinance did not pass constitutional muster, so we made a determination to settle that litigation based upon the status of our ordinance. But before a billboard could go up, there has to be specific permission.
Okay, but according to the federal government and the state, it has to be 660 feet from the property line of the highway.
That I've never heard of before.
I've got it right here for you.
But I understand, when you say 660
60 feet from the property of the right-of-way of that thing. That's the federal law. There's also something else
But
that
it-
maybe the state of New Jersey was negligent on, because there is a penalty, a 10% penalty by putting that board up there. I have it right here.
The only
I'm
problem...
going to take it, and he's going to research it.
The only
Thank you.
problem I have, Mr. Pritchard...
Sure, it's Mike.
There is no billboard, if you drive on 287, Route 17, Route 80, that's 660 feet from the right-of-way.
Doesn't matter.
Just
I,
say,
I hear you. But then again, see, the state
We're
of New Jersey's
going,
been
it's not a
negligent.
debate, we're going to
yeah,
give
well, I mean,
this
we'll
to
look
our
at it,
attorney.
but I believe that the issue is with the state, because they're the ones
It
that
is.
regulate billboards along the highways.
What I have here is a U.S. Supreme Court case, a New Jersey Supreme Court case, and even an appellate court case. I have it all here for you.
We're going to take it, and we're going to read it.
Mayor, may I ask a quick
I also
question?
have,
Yes.
with you.
Who are you asking the question of?
I also have the Code of Federal Regulations dealing with it too, so.
Who are you asking the
To
question?
the attorney?
Mr. Chakowski?
I'm just curious, when you say that they had to make application to the state DOT, is that if it was on DOT property?
No.
All right, even if it's on
The
public. if it's-
regulation of
if it's on
billboards
private
is goes
property.
to the DOT. The case law that has come out, there are a lot of towns that have denied billboards
Yes, they
in the
have.
past 10 years. Most of those cases are overturned for various reasons, one of which is the constitutionality of the ordinance. They're allowed to provide a message because it's
agree
considered
with you.
commercial speech. The other aspect of it is a lot of towns would reject billboards that were digital, basically coming up with reasons such as safety, lighting, that it would have an impact on traffic. The most recent case that came out on digital billboards, basically the court said, you made all this up because you haven't produced any evidence to support that there were increased accidents or anything else as a result of a digital billboard that was so many feet away. There are distance requirements with respect to how far a billboard can be from an existing billboard. There are also certain height requirements and based upon how the roadway may curve, but those are all first reviewed by the DOT. They're gonna give you a permit that says, at this mile marker, you can have a billboard.
All right, thank you.
So we're going to take,
Okay.
we are very fortunate to have you do all this research for
But I
us.
agree with Brian when he's sitting there talking about with speech, because commercial advertising is commercial speech, and that's protected by the First
I
Amendment.
know, we learned that in law school.
Right, so, but that's what it is. And I have this the case from the Supreme Court of the United States, it was in 2015.
I can't thank you enough for all this research that you give us.
And I also had the New Jersey Supreme Court case dealing with digital boards. And when you stand there with that, everybody stopped at the first paragraph. The second paragraph where they sit there and they said, you have to go back to the thing here of 23 U.S. Code.
As I said
131.
earlier, as soon as you sent me the email, I right away contacted our borough attorney, planning board attorney, zoning board attorney, and then Brian came up with this, but if you have cases.
I keep Brian busy.
Keeping him busy. Thank you so much.
Sometimes I do billboards for private clients, so I have.
So he's on the other side.
Oh, okay.
I do have a little bit of knowledge.
Okay.
But
Thank
here it
you
is.
so much. I'm going to hand this over to Brian, and
Yeah.
he's going
Well,
to then follow up on the generators.
Jurisdiction
And
for the
this thing on the
permit.
generator, that's negligent on the state.
I'm going to
Admit
hold
that.
on, I'm going to hold on the generators and read the generators.
But there's the stuff for that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Would anybody
Good
else
job.
like to speak?
Good job.
Well, you're on the same team, folks.
That's right, thank you.
And I thank you. You always give us great information. Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We don't have any minutes. So special announcements and appointments. I am very lucky Alicia's here. I received emails, and I was told that many residents have been talking about this, and I know they've been talking about it for many, many years, but apparently, recently, it's become a very hot issue, and that's the idea of Oakland having a municipal pool. And I said to Alicia, I have to talk to the council, it takes a lot of investigation. It's not just something you just pick and choose to do or not do. So I asked Alicia to come up with some names of people who might be interested to be on a committee to investigate locations, investigate what it entails, any liability, what has to be done to create a municipal pool. The biggest problem you're going to have is finding a location. And I know you gave me the list. So, because of that, one of the powers of the mayor in a municipal form of borough form of government is I can appoint an ad hoc committee. And that's what this is. It's not in our bylaws, it's not on our committee list, it's an ad hoc committee. And when you finish with all your investigation, and you come back to the council with a report, that then the committee either disbands or you become a more involved committee. So I have all the citizen leadership forms that you forwarded to me. I passed them out to all the council people. And so I am calling this the Oakland Municipal Pool Ad Hoc Committee. And I'm asking the following residents, and you all have their contact information: Alicia Havens, Carly Hassler, Ben Carapezza, Rula Ballantyne, Julie Turner Peluso, Gail Brock, and Shannon Kennedy to be on the committee. You will be officially an ad hoc committee for the municipal pool, Oakland Municipal Pool. Next week, when Lisa comes back, you'll go to Lisa, she'll give you some forms to fill out. You will tell us when you're going to meet and what your plan is, and come up with, and somebody should report to us regularly on the status of the committee. I'm also appointing Councilman Lou Levy to help you, because I think of all the councilmen here, he is most knowledgeable about our wetlands, where you can put things in Oakland, the highlands, the river, streams, what you can and cannot do near our waterways, because we have a lot. We have the streams, we have brooks, we have lakes, we have rivers. So Councilman Levy will be working with you. He has the contact information. Unfortunately, like I said, 2 of the email, could not reach everybody by phone, and 2 of the emails were bounced back. But I'm officially appointing this committee as the Oakland Municipal Pool Committee, and thank you. And we'll be in touch. I have your contact info. Thank you so much, and thank you for being involved. And that's what Oakland's all about. We are a wonderful town with lots of volunteers, and it's just great. So I'm excited to read about all the things you're going to present to us, so thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Would it make sense maybe to put some kind of time limit on the committee, or?
Well, it'll be towards, what,
or
the committee is, they have to investigate, they have to first meet.
Just,
They're gonna have-
I was just to give them.
I don't have a time frame because I don't know how long
Okay.
it's going to take them.
Okay.
I assume by the end of the year, we'll have something, by the end of December, but they have to look at locations. They
Sure,
have to
yeah.
find out about the rivers, the
Right.
streams, locations. We are in the Highlands, that's a big factor, wetlands. I know you gave me a list. When you meet, you'll come back with your committee list with a formal list of their correct phone numbers, email addresses, the chairperson, and Councilman Levy. And you will contact Alicia's, she's my contact person.
Mayor?
So and her form is here. Yes.
And hopefully in this process, thank you, we come up with the cost and funding.
Everything.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to say something. Many years ago, one of the councilmen in Mawa called me. Apparently Mawa has a town pool, is that correct?
That
Ryan?
is correct.
And they called me about the possibility of allowing Oakland residents to use their town pool. We would pay towards their pool. And I said, I'd like to hear some details, I'd be very interested in talking to you. They never got back to me. So I don't know if it was just one council person's idea. I don't know if it was just nixed by the rest of the council or the mayor. So that's another possibility that you might look at if you cannot find anything here that you think there's even a location. You might want to contact other towns.
I've been a member of the Mawa Pool.
Oh, were you?
In the past, not recently.
They were allowed you?
Yeah, they allowed, because actually their numbers are declining, so
Oh, that's why they called me
So
then, okay.
they're looking for people.
Yeah,
But,
Also,
yeah.
Mayor, same thing, there's a lot of Oakland residents that use the Mawa Pool, and it was actually last week I reached out to Mayor Roth to inquire if there was any way that we can get some kind of partnership, and he said he'd be looking into that.
Well, so much for when he called me, and they never got back to me. So I have the contact. I belong to the Northwest Mayors Group, and I have all their contact information if you want to contact any of the people in the other towns. But you might want to start, if it doesn't work out with Oakland, you might want to consider talking to Mawa and see what we can do. And thank you. Okay, we have resolutions. And we'll do as a consent agenda unless you want me to pull any out. Resolution 19246 is authorized Connolly and Hickey removal of the Stream House. Connolly and Hickey Historical Architecture LLC submitted a proposal dated August 7th for the services required at a cost not to exceed $21,150. 19247 is appointed registrar of vital statistics. As everyone is aware, Karen is leaving. She's retiring, and she's retiring as of September 30th, 2019. And we have an employee in town, Sandra Steele, who is interested, and to appoint her as the Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for training purposes effective September 29th, 2019. And she will be receiving $5,000 annually for that position. 19248 is award bid roller hockey ring. 3 bids were received on August 15th, and the low bidder was Halicon Inc. in Bridgewater, New Jersey. They submitted the lowest responsive and responsible bid for a total base bid price of $385,000, and I know there's a pre-construction meeting scheduled shortly. Resolution 19249, amend contract to Agnoli Engineering for the floodplain manager services. He has done an excellent job helping us with our floodplain management, and especially with Alaman Brook. And his services helped us with emergency repairs, so to amend his engineering contract in an amount not to exceed $4,000. And 19250 is authorized refund of recreation fees for fall soccer in the amount of $77 to Brendan McElkenny on Colonial Road in Franklin Lakes in the amount of $77. Their motion?
So moved.
Any pull out? If
Yes,
not,
Mayor.
roll.
Yes, Mayor, I have a question on 19246.
246, yes.
My question is, Rich, did we ask for any quotes from anyone, any other company, or is this a very limited amount of companies that do this?
Well, yes, one, there's a limited amount of companies that have the expertise to do this. It's a rather small field when you get into historical buildings. Number two, Connolly and Hickey has worked for us prior, both on the Stream House doing the preservation plan and with the Van Allen House, and we've been very pleased with their performance in administering those contracts as well. And they had also been contracted for and handled our application to SHPO to secure the state's approval. That contract involved development of 75% of the plan documents as a required element of the application. So it made sense to continue using them to finish the plan documents and to oversee the project.
The only reason I ask is I was not happy with their previous report. First, they said it wouldn't cost as much as last time, and now all of a sudden they changed it that it would cost more than last time. So I was not happy with them, but if you're happy and you're happy with their performance, I'm okay with it. But I just wanted to find out whether or not we got any other bids to do the same thing, but I
You know,
guess I just-
Councilman, it's taken us so long to get this, and it's Connolly and Hickey who have the reputation with SHPO down in Trenton, and that's what we needed. It's such an involved process. I mean, I've been working on this for so long, and I'm so excited that not everybody gets the permission to dismantle. And they have the expertise, they have the reputation in the state, and $21,000, if you don't want to do this now, you want to...
No, I just wanted to point out that, I mean, personally, I was not happy with their performance, and that the first time we hired them to help us, and instead of helping us, they said, no, the Stream House should stay as is. That was the first time we asked them to do the work.
That was SHPO, and that's because of a former councilwoman who conjoined the properties, and we were really stuck.
No, I mean, Connolly and Hickey recommended to SHPO that we not take the house down the very first time.
No.
This was
that's
eight years ago.
That's before my time,
Yeah.
yeah? That's way before me,
What you're
because...
referring to is the preservation plan. that was created, that was a precursor to being able to secure other grant funding to do work on the Van Allen House. And part of the scope of that preservation plan was to document the building and to put a scope of work and a price tag on what it would cost to preserve it. So that was the defined scope for the preservation plan. It was not necessarily a set of recommendations on what to do, but, you know, in terms of, if we're going to preserve it, what might it be used for, how much would it cost, what would need to be done, and document the condition of the building and its history. And that's what they did in the plan.
That building has to come down.
Oh, yes, definitely. I'm 100% in favor of taking it down.
And I think we're very lucky that we have Connolly and Hickey working with us because, like I said, SHPO looks at them with good reputation, and you can't just hire an architect. You have to hire somebody who's an
And Mayor, they also
historical.
have all the background on the entire site and the building, and they've been working with us for the last 20 years.
I
Yes?
still think we should look at Frank Monaco.
Oh, yes, he was going to come with, what do you call it, with the, where they...
Sledgehammer.
Right, no, what do you call it when those big trucks have those big balls, the
Wrecking
metal?
ball.
Wrecking,
A
right.
wrecking ball.
And we tried. Even the hurricanes didn't take it down. We even had a tornado once through town. That didn't take it down. So, anybody else? If not, motion? Do we have the motion in second?
Yes, we do.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy?
Yes.
Councilman Knapp?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Got everybody?
Yep.
I am so excited. Thank you. Thank you
Do we have
all.
any idea when they'll be doing this, starting this?
Mr. Kunz, I told him I'm getting
Do you have any idea when
impatient.
they'll be starting the dismantling?
The dismantling, no, I can tell you Connolly is going to get started right away tomorrow on finishing off the specs.
For the state to allow
The
us.
specs. There is a permit that needs to be acquired.
Of course.
Due to the nature of the asbestos on the outside of the building and working over the stream. But they did already have a meeting with DEP to talk about that process and identify what was going to be required. So there is a little bit of variability there based on how long DEP will take. But we will be moving.
We'll have to
expeditiously as we
make, we'll just have to make some more calls down to Trenton to expedite that.
This year, you think?
What?
The good, you know what, the good thing about this sort of work is that it's, unlike some of the other things that we do, it's not really held up to construction season. Right, you can work over the winter.
Oh, we can work during the snow?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, during the snow itself, but in cold weather, you
Okay.
can do this work.
We have ordinances. If you notice that on the agenda, there is an ordinance, 19 Code 791, amend fee ordinance, that will be carried. So,
Which one?
19 Code 791, amend fee ordinance, that has to be carried.
Thank you.
All right, ordinances introduction. 19 Code 790 towing ordinance. Is there a motion, this is for introduction. Is
So
there a
moved.
motion? Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy?
Yes.
Councilman
Yes.
Knapp? Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
And final hearing and adoption?
That would be September 11th.
Ooh. Final adoption, 19 Bond 789, the Alaman Brook repairs. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anyone wish to speak on this? This is the Alaman Brook. We are appropriating the amount of $400,000 for the improvement along Alaman Brook.
Repairs.
Repairs. Oh.
Michael Pritchard, 23 Calumet Avenue. What has gone on in that brook, I think, has been very terrible to the people that live along that brook.
Which is why we're doing it.
And it should be done. And like I said before, you're coming up through the high point of hurricane season. And they just don't need to go through that stuff again and again. You know.
We have to thank Roy Balberger.
That's
And
right.
again,
And-
our engineer, John Yakimic.
and Lou Levy.
And Lou Levy.
Right.
And Nick Agnoli
Yeah.
for all the work they did.
That's right.
In fact,
It was a group effort.
it was a group effort. I'm the one who stood on top on Lake Shore and took pictures of them in the brook
Yeah.
when they had to investigate. I
And then
did
she
not go
threatened
in
to
the
use them
brook.
against me.
So that's a team effort.
So, but
Yes.
that's what, you have to have a team effort.
Yes,
But
and-
they've gone through a lot.
And we also have a resident, Mr. Fernandez, whose property he allowed us to go into the brook and
Who's
gave
not
us,
affected by this at all.
and he allowed us to use his property to go into the brook to do the Band-Aid repairs.
There's a lot of shout out that should be done by the town, and maybe some letters of appreciation to all those people
Well-
that did that and worked on it.
Well, every morning I would call Councilman Levy.
And
Shed.
I would say, is the shed still on the property, the Wilson property, or did it fall in?
Yeah.
So every morning, I checked, especially when it rained, I called them, check on the shed.
You know, and Rich actually doesn't get enough credit for this
well,
because.
damn it, he should get a
this-
letter of appreciation.
Well, I'm giving it to him now. I'm
No,
doing
I
it.
mean, a regular thing, you know,
No, you know,
something you can hang on the wall.
what wound up happening was that this, you know, that first Band-Aid repair,
Yeah,
that was done at ridiculous speed.
yeah.
And Rich managed to kind of keep right up with it and keep it all moving, so, you know, he gets, everybody, the council gets credit, because they, you know, everybody understood the importance of doing it and moving it forward. And actually, starting Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to do the area below the bridge, because that has to be done. We're gonna repair the wall that fell down, and we're gonna repair another wall that fell down further on up this brook. That's the limit to what the DEP is gonna allow us to do on an emergency permit.
Okay,
And then simultaneous with that, Mr. Yukimic and Nick Agnoli, our environmental engineer, are going to evaluate what's left, and we're gonna come up with a scope of work, and we'll start working on how we're gonna get funding for that. But this had to be done, we couldn't.
no, but those people, like I said, they need a lot of relief.
Yes.
Well, you know what, the big thing is this, is that, you know, while this is an easement and that is private property, you know, these people receive no benefit, direct benefit from this brook. This brook is there to move water from 287, from the county road, from other parts of Oakland.
Other
Most of
parts
these
Franklin
residents'
Lake.
properties actually drain to the street.
Yeah,
So they get no benefit from it, and it poses a liability to them.
Right,
like I said to you, now one thing,
yes.
that qualifies as a mudslide. What happened there?
Well, we are going to put together a maintenance plan
Yeah,
going forward, so that during certain, you know, after certain triggering events, Mr. Yukimic or whoever our borough engineer is at the time, I hope it's you, John.
Where am I going?
I don't know, you never know, you may go to Korea or something.
Go to Korea a lot.
That's where his child
You know, we're gonna have the brook is gonna get inspected. What didn't happen was the brook was never really inspected, and it was never really maintained, because we can't find a piece of paper yet that tells us who put it there for sure. We think we know.
Who
Who's
put what
responsible? We think the DOT put it there, but I've
But
also
that's
read.
another story, that's
Yeah.
for another day. Maybe you and Councilman Levy should have coffee sometime and discuss it, because you have some history background.
You think I should take a look down at the Bergen County Clerk's office for stuff?
This is-
I've done that before.
Well,
We
if you're
actually-
there,
We actually opened the DEP
Mhm.
for any permits relating to that brook between 1977 and 85, I believe. Because that was the onset of the use of Gavion bed. We even know the company that sold the baskets.
all right, thank you,
Okay, then.
thank you. So yes, that's what
What's
this
that, my
ordinance is
friends
all
at the
about.
County Clerk's office.
That's what it's all about.
Okay.
Anybody else wish to speak? If not, motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
We have work session items, ordinance to regulate generators. If anybody would like, Mr. Pritchard just gave us a whole packet. You brought it up, would you like to read it?
I'm good.
I'll read it.
If I may, Mayor, Councilman Talamini raised this at, I guess, 2 meetings ago. He was not here at the last meeting, so we carried it for Councilman Talamini to be here. I wrote a memo to the governing body August 5th, 2019, and we were unable to discover any issues in Bergen County, and in particular Oakland, either with PSE&G or Rockland Electric, where there was a program where generators were being used as a primary powering source for various properties. I believe there was a request to determine if there were any complaints that were received within the town. We didn't receive any complaints. So it sounds like it may be a JCP&L or other utility issue out there. And we wanted to wait till you were here to see if this is something you wanted to pursue at this time. Mr. Pritchard found some information.
I
I
have the
also
packet.
found the various information, which is very nice, but it basically says if you have a generator, please be aware of the noise control requirements. You know, can you do an ordinance? I can't find anything under the statute or by BPU regulations that would preclude you from doing that. And basically, the ordinance that would be crafted would be precluding the use of a generator in power outage, non-emergency situations. Yeah. So I left it to the council to decide.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, you know, I know, I'm just trying to be a little proactive, because I just know, I just became aware of it, and, you know, if I lived next door to somebody that had a generator and they were using it on a regular basis for non-emergency purposes, I think I would be annoyed. And so I think if we could be proactive and have an ordinance saying that you can't do it, then no one could be grandfathered in once it happened. But, I mean, if the council doesn't see the need for it, then I don't know that we have to pursue it.
I have a generator. I live on a cul-de-sac, and where our electricity goes out a lot because we are tied to the trees along 202 north of Andrew, and when Mawa goes out, my street goes out. And because it's a cul-de-sac with very few houses, we're one of the last to ever get our electric back. So we had a generator installed. Our generator has to be, it has to run once a week. So we did it on a day and a time when people are not around, and it has to go off because it has to, I guess, cycle and I don't know what it does. I don't know.
Right, it's like your car. If you don't start your car when you need it, it's not gonna run.
So we went around asking our neighbors, do you hear it? Do you have any complaints? They said, no, it's fine. So I know that's my generator. And unfortunately,
That was your generator, I heard?
he lives on the other side of town. And unfortunately, but actually fortunately, it's the best insurance we ever bought because unfortunately, we've gone out for days at a time and our generator kicks in. And it's unbelievable.
I just, to me, it just seems to be a proactive thing to do, just to, you know, keep people from using it for other reasons than an emergency.
But
You know, there are some instances where, in rural areas, where the utility company will suggest, and I'm sure you heard this, suggest you run your generator all the time and give power back to the grid.
Right.
And you'll get compensated by the utility company. But that's rural areas. I don't think it would be proper and right to do it in a community like ours. So,
I think this was something we were gonna bring up at the planning board because like my generator is on the outside of the house. So it extends, is it within the sidelines? So I know we brought it up and we never
Yeah.
pursued it
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
planning board. So this
Okay.
is something maybe I'll bring up at the planning board also.
All right, I just, it just, you know, it's like I'm saying, it's just being proactive. That if-
No, it was a good idea, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody else on work session? No, that's it. New business, all business, council business.
Slow down, cowgirl.
Oh,
So, I'd like to bring something up. on-
is that new or old?
That was new, but you
Oh.
only gave me half a second, so I didn't get a chance.
now it's old.
Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. I believe that I don't know if I did it here or privately with Brian, but I want us to investigate again. I don't know if it's legal for us to require, I always say this word wrong, but the bollards for,
That's right.
such as Seal Shopping Center,
Yes.
Oakland Shopping Center, where Oakland
Straight-in
Pizza
parking.
used to be.
Head and parking.
Yeah, the head-in parking, Dairy Queen, where all these kids are lined up
Yes.
and people park right in there. You know, I'm not sure if Eric was there, but I was on the scene, right, when we had that a woman was unfortunately killed at the Notebook.
When she was buying lottery tickets, yes, she
Oakland
was right in the
Pizzas
front.
had three or so cars go through it in the years that it was there. Where your campaign store was a couple of years ago, you
Went
had a
through
car
there.
go through that one by Cafe Lemoore.
Right.
Also in
happens to all
Fairlawn
of
just
them.
recently, the bakery in
Correct.
Fairlawn, on Fairlawn Avenue.
But I believe I ran this past Dan, that's who it was, maybe not you, Brian. And I was told that we could not enforce anything on existing properties, but we can require on new builds, unless we maybe take some sort of legal look at it. I think this is well worth looking at. I mean, we have a lot of head-in parking, and since this has come up, a lot of places have a lot of head-in parking that don't have these safety measures there. And it's almost like shame on them now, because it's not hard for this to happen. And obviously, it's happened in this town quite a bit. And I think that, it's prudent to us to look into.
Brian, do you have any
something.
suggestions?
Well, the first comment is, and John can certainly chime in, it's not a problem to make it a requirement as part of your site plan review ordinance that if you have this type of parking, you are going to be required to put in requisite safety measures
That's
such as
going forward,
bollards.
though.
Now, you're going to the past, is that, how do you implement this as a safety measure with those existing properties? Right. So my guess is you probably can't, but I'll look into it and report
Well,
back.
if somebody's gonna do a parking lot, for example, or redo their parking lot, we can make it a requirement, even on an existing property.
If there's a site plan required with respect to existing or proposed development, absolutely.
The only other problem would be in a situation like, what's the one where the paint store is? Where JD's is?
Seals. Well,
Seals.
Right.
I don't know what
All
they're
right,
called
so
now,
at Seals, for example, you've got probably a walkway in front of those stores that's about as narrow as it can legally be.
but- Right.
And then you've got a very tight parking lot. So if you put the ballards in, then they would either encroach on the parking area,
They'd be on the
or
sidewalk.
have to
they'd
be on the
encroach,
sidewalk.
or
On the
they,
sidewalk.
or they would encroach on the sidewalk, and they might make the sidewalk too narrow where they are. So we might have to
Oh.
give a variance for that. I mean, I don't know, that just comes to
What would
mind.
happen is that with any site plan that is required, it's reviewed by the appropriate land use board, and that board has the ability to grant waivers from those site plan requirements. So it's just another level of review. Somebody's going to come in and redo their shopping center and say, we're going to redo the parking lot and do this. Now you have the requisite ability, the requisite authority to require that bollards be installed. Most of your progressive companies, and I'll use probably a bad word like Wawa, they put the bollards in. And if you've ever been to Wawa,
Oh,
you
yes,
know-
they do. You're right.
You know why.
Well, the other thing,
You're right.
it's becoming more and more popular is outdoor dining.
Well, and they do that by JD's.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is.
They do?
I wonder if they do outdoor
They
dining.
sit outside?
Yeah, there's a table out there.
Yeah, but they might be required to go before the planning board to do that, no?
No, we don't have an ordinance, because I wish
Yes,
we checked.
I told
I
you.
spoke to our planning board attorney, because Lenabe Grill
that's the
wanted
point.
to have outdoor seating.
Really.
And so I had Joe Russo check our ordinances, and he said there's no ordinance that prohibits outdoor seating, but if it adds seating, they need to have enough parking spaces, and that's how we get around it.
Also, it's gonna impact their septic system.
Well, that's health, right.
Septic system designed on how many
Right.
seats you have.
But I don't think 2 extra chairs at JD's is gonna put it
No,
over.
I'm not saying JD, it's
But-
Lenape Grill.
But there are distinct issues. The first
Yeah.
issue is most of the communities that permit outdoor dining, it's within the public right-of-way pursuant to licensing. So the concept is that during periods of time that people would want to eat outdoors, it's a substitute for the indoor spaces. So they look at it as being a wash. It doesn't affect the septic, it doesn't affect the parking. Now, if you're adding seating on private property, it may trigger additional review.
All right, well, I'm not worrying about outside seating, I'm talking about the bollard,
Right,
so.
and I'll look into it.
And if there is no way to enforce it to be done, is it something that we think we could assist them, the property owners by doing, I don't know, some sort of tax relief for a year or something, just throwing ideas out there as an incentive plan for them to do it, to make basically our residents
Well, here's
safer.
Here's what I would suggest off the top of my head. There's no tax abatement program that would be available for reduction of taxes for the installation of bollards.
Okay.
However, if you want to establish a program where you might have a subsidy, like you do with sidewalks. We're doing our sidewalks, you want them done, this person can do them at a cheaper price. You may be able to do something like that. I think it's a matter of education and requesting people what to do. I don't think installing bollards is a lot of money, but they're not cheap either.
Really pretty if you had little, you know, those rectangular flower pots in front.
All right, so Brian, you'll check it out?
Yeah, I'll look into it. I think we'll
Thank
do,
you.
I want to look at the site plan ordinance and do an amendment anyway then, based upon what we discussed, but I also want to do a little research.
Well, that's what the administration committee, we talked about it, is looking at all our ordinances and updating all our ordinances to make it reflect.
Would it be a good idea just to do the very basic and ask the strip mall owners on behalf of the residents of Oakland, New Jersey, to take a safety measure and install bollards in front of all the
But
places?
Councilman Levy is correct, though. He's correct, though, if the sidewalk is really narrow,
Then a
you have to
guardrail.
make sure that there's enough room.
guardrail might
If
work.
there's a wheelchair.
A guardrail.
The other aspect is that they also have insurance companies that when they come out and they'll say, maybe you should be doing this, because this is,
That's true.
this is becoming a lot more prevalent that you
Exactly.
probably read every other week of some vehicle that goes into some business.
I know, I went to the bakery on Fairlawn Avenue, in Fairlawn, and I see all these boards across, somebody went right through the glass.
Yeah, we have one,
Can we just send a letter of request to mall owners that where we have head-on parking?
Yeah, I mean, however we want to
And
approach
just,
it, I just think it's
as a-
something that we need to do.
As a cursory step towards bollards, or just ask them for their ideas.
Right.
on
Or
how we
Or
could
why don't
best
we, or we could ask them to come to a meeting of all the owners of the shopping centers and come up with a plan.
What about the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Community of Commerce.
We can get them involved.
Call Brian, not this Brian.
Brian, I
who's-
know.
Brian is the branch manager at Columbia Bank, he's the president this year.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
great, thank you. So we don't have old business, that was new business.
Well, that, as fast as you
Now
win
we
it,
have
they
council
went to vote.
business. We'll start with Councilman.
No report.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, next.
Thank you, Mayor. It is August, it's kind of a short month, there's really not a lot going on, but once again, I just want to remind everybody that, yes, we just approved the resolution for the hockey rink. We had the bid opening that took place last week on the 15th, 2 weeks ago, and obviously, as the mayor indicated, we are going to have a pre-construction meeting on 9/4, that's next Wednesday, to discuss some of the design details. Also, OCC, Oakland Communications Commission, our next meeting is September 9th, 7:30 PM, right here at Council
Oh,
Chambers.
Excuse me, is your mic on, you have an echo?
So it must be my booming voice.
Mike is on, though?
My mic is on.
Yeah.
Turn it off?
No?
No, then they won't hear you on television.
Okay. So OCC is still looking for volunteers. Anybody interested, go to occ@oakland-nj.org. And also, I just want to recognize Mr. Justin Miner. He received his Eagle Scout last weekend, and it was a wonderful ceremony. I was there, the mayor was there, and, congratulations, Justin. He's a good kid. He used to watch our dog for us, and it's really well-deserved. Good job, Justin. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, senior report, the summer movie schedule of afternoon movies, of Monday afternoon movies, continues at 1:30 PM on September 2nd. And the movie, The Shack, will be played. A flyer with the weekly movie schedule can be picked up at the Senior Center and is also available on the Borough website.
Very good movie.
It is?
Highly recommend it.
It has nothing to do with the shack by the Alderman
No,
Brook, right?
no.
Okay.
It's an excellent movie.
Okay.
Really is.
Okay, the Senior Center will be holding a Name That Tune game show on Thursday, August 29th at 1 p.m. That's tomorrow. Snacks will be provided. Please register for this event at the Senior Center. Line dancing classes will continue in September with a volunteer instructor, Edith. These classes will be held on Friday, September 6th and the 20th, both at 2 p.m. There is no pre-registration as this is a drop-in class. The Senior Center will be holding a program on hearing loss with one-on-one screenings on Thursday, September the 5th at 1 p.m. No registration is required as this is also a drop-in class.
Ice cream special.
The Senior Center will also be holding a program on memory loss and Alzheimer's with one-on-one screenings on Tuesday, September 10th at 10 a.m. Registration is required on memory screenings and can be made by stopping at the Senior Center or calling Ariel at 201-405-7731. And a couple new programs. A new program starting on September the 3rd, there will be a men's coffee club meeting every Tuesday at 1 p.m. The men can join us for good coffee and conversation each week. This is an unstructured drop-in program. Another new program will be a weekly trivia game on Wednesdays at 1:30 beginning on September the 4th. Please save the date of Thursday, October 3rd for the fall trip to the Paper Mill Playhouse. The stage play offered will be a new musical called Chasing Rainbows, based on the life of Judy Garland. Tickets will go on sale September the 3rd. And the last item of news for the Senior Center is the beginning of pre-registration for our flu shot clinic on September 12th from 1 to 2 p.m. and on September 26th from 1:15 to 2:15. DPW report. Line striping. Residents will notice DPW crews repainting every sidewalk, every crosswalk and traffic stop line on all borough-owned streets. This project is completed annually before school opens each year. In September, streets will remain open and traffic will not be affected. The parking lots at all borough-owned buildings and schools will be restriped immediately following this crosswalk project. Road resurfacing program. Sealed bids for the 2019 road program are scheduled to be open on September the 5th at 11 a.m. in Borough Conference Room. The paving schedule will then be developed by our engineer after the bid award is approved by the mayor and council. Hydrant flushing. Water department employees have flushed and pressure tested more than 450 of our 580 borough-owned fire hydrants. Crews will continue this process at all 580 have been flushed, tested, and repaired if necessary. I expect this work to be completed before the end of November. And lastly, we encourage all residents, as the mayor pointed out, to call in any potholes that you may see so they can be filled by the DPW crew. And you can either go to the borough website and fill out a request form or calling the service building directly at 201-337-8103. Potholes reported to the public are typically repaired within 5 business days. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Our administration committee met the other day, went over several items concerning our administration in the borough. That we also met with the Green Team to discuss a location for our community garden. Right, Mayor?
That's right.
Which we will be discussing shortly with another party to make sure there's no objection. Next month, the Board of Health meets on September 17th, and the Green Team will meet on September 24th. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you. Let's see. Flood Commission did not meet, but will be meeting the second Monday of this month at Borough Hall at 7:30. The Shade Tree meeting was supposed to be this coming Monday at Borough Hall, as that is Labor Day. That will not be being done. I have not gotten word from the Shade Tree Committee if they want to reschedule, if they're just going to skip that until October. So people do know we are going to start working on the 3 emergency sections of Alaman Brook on Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll be looking at what we're going to be doing, have to do in the future that's considered non-emergent work, but still needs to be done before it becomes an emergency. And we are looking at the sidewalk on Route 202 by Great Oak Park. A lot of people have commented, you know, that's not being dealt with, and it is. Unfortunately, it is a grossly expensive repair, probably in the $350,000 to $450,000 range, only because there is an embankment that gave out. We have tried to get the county, we have tried to get the state, anybody to help us with it, and so far, we have not gotten any relief, and we have to fix it. It's a danger. One of the plans that we are looking, like John Yakimic and I have been talking about the possibility of moving the walkway to the other side of the road, but that would require the installation of a traffic light at the intersection of Doty Road and 202. We took the first step today in securing an accident report for the prior 3 years to see how that whether that intersection, in fact, can rate a traffic light, and if it can, that may be, for the borough, a much cheaper repair. We could do another macadam sidewalk. We don't even necessarily have to do concrete there. And then we can just leave the embankment alone. Apparently, the county seems to feel that the caving in embankment is not a risk to anything. So if they feel that way, that's fine. I think that's...
Going
yes.
back to Shade Tree, could you please find out, we cannot find out if there's a vacancy. I have a resident who is really excited about going on to Shade Tree.
I can't remember right now, to be honest with you.
All right, if you can,
Yeah, you
Yeah, I'll
said
ask
the
Ed.
tree to get on it.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I just said he was climbing a tree to get on the shade tree.
Oh, you were climbing a tree to get on the Shade Tree. With that, I'll ask, since you're finished with your report and you don't have an answer for me,
I
we'll go
don't.
Uh,
to the next.
Okay, thank you. Monthly emergency services reports for the month of July. First aid squad responded to 85 calls for 170 hours. Year-to-date, 506 calls for just over 1,000 hours. Between their hours, their on duty, and their training, they have dedicated 9,595 hours to the borough. So kudos to the first aid squad. They also have a message from their chief. Their new ambulance is being ordered on Friday. We passed that resolution, I think, last meeting. Members from the Oakland First Aid Squad, along with Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff, will be teaching 2 classes in Stop the Bleed to the Ramapo Indian Hills MERT teams. That's M-E-R-T, Medical Emergency Response Teams. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in with the mass shootings. This is part of the training that they have to go through. They're sending the rest of their members, along with the police department, through Rescue Task Force, which is an active shooter threat scenario, where EMS teams and the police departments enter warm zones to treat their victims. So they're being extremely proactive, and that's congratulations to them on that. Fire department, month of July, 42 calls. Total volunteer hours, 3,911. Somehow I'm thinking, I don't know if that's a typo or not. Year-to-date, 219 calls. Total hours, 6,317. Between drills and calls, total hours, 6,504 to the borough. Congratulations to them and the police department.
So thank you to them for their volunteer hours.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate your hours. And the rest of the fire department.
I don't know, he's your friend.
I thank Eric. He's a fireman.
And so are you.
I can't thank myself.
I'm thanking you.
Now he's...
Bob, thank you for your service.
Yeah, what about first aid? He doesn't get paid. He's hurt. He's offended.
And you're a former chief.
Yeah, that was
It's
that.
okay, Pat. Thank you.
Okay.
I thank you for your service.
Are you
Police-
finished?
No. Police Department, month of July, monthly report. Couple different things. In the month of July, they have two highlights that we had. Oakland Safety Town and the Junior Police. There is something wrong with these mics, so.
Or now it's an echo on yours?
I just shut it off because it's not working.
But then they can't hear you on television.
No. They'll hear that one. Thanks, Lou. Safety Town was run by Detective Piercy in conjunction with the staff from the Oakland School District. The curriculum focused on overall safety for younger members in the community, some activities. as well as attended graduation ceremony. The program appears to be beneficial for both participants and be an educational fun for all. Following Safety Town and Junior Police Academy, the instructors and organizers for the JPA put together 6 days of educational and action-packed activities for the 45 recruits. This graduating class by far exceeded the best attended class. It was the best attended Junior Police Academy to date. The captain has received many comments after graduation ceremony and emails in the days to follow, praising the program instructors, and many residents expressed their excitement to the parents after the day. So congratulations to the police in that program. That's something they all should be very proud of. And a message from the captain to the town. Residents should be aware that the Oakland Police Department Facebook page will be the exclusive location for all traffic alerts and road closures. Therefore, if you want to receive notifications regarding road closures, traffic alerts, current or planned construction jobs in Oakland, or other messages pertaining to borough roadways, please subscribe to the Oakland Police Department's Facebook page.
It's a really good idea.
That's why they did it. Also, officers have given out Dairy Queen coupons for free ice cream cones to a number of children in Oakland for wearing helmets while riding their bikes. However, they've also issued warnings to a number of children who were not wearing their helmets. This included making notifications to their parents, who are responsible for ensuring the children's safety. Please follow the law and ensure that your child's safety by making them wear their helmet and other safety gear before they leave the house. Lastly, the police department would like to remind everyone to drive safely as school reopens next week. Also, this is a good time to ask all drivers and parents to check the child restraint system currently in their vehicles. The straps and mechanism to secure the child seat to the vehicle can sometimes become loose over time. If you would like to have a certified child seat installer / inspector take a look at your child's seat, please contact Officer Michael Catanacci of the Oakland Police Department. His telephone number and email address can be found on the borough website under the Police Department tab. So I apologize if that went a little long. And I just have a couple of quick stats I always like to put out there for the guys. So for the month of July, they had 273 motor vehicle stops, 7 radar details, and 1 traffic enforcement detail, which totaled 520 summonses that were issued. There were 33 motor vehicle crashes investigated and 47 burglar alarms investigated. So good group, very busy, and very proud of all those guys. So that's my report.
Now, is
There.
that it?
Hold on, I got a quick one for Great Oak Park.
Oh.
If you haven't seen it on Facebook, somebody's complaining that there is the great white oak tree has been, might be infested with some sort of bugs, so they have Save a Tree looking into it. They don't seem all that concerned, and they're being proactive to take care of the situation. And then I was asked to ask John about the band shell. And
Which John?
Parking, all the way down.
John, our engineer.
Any update on that?
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week. Okay, there it is, next week. Thank you, no report, done, finished.
Okay.
And Councilman Knapp stole my pen thingy.
With that, entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills to be paid. Councilman.
Bills to be paid, $584,075.34. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy?
Yes.
Councilman Knapp?
Councilman Knapp?
I'm sorry, yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Calhoun?
Yes.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting will be held right here on September 11th.
Good luck.
Because you have to do that first and then.